Thanks for tuning into our podcast. We love having you here, and it's our mission to bring you all the latest and greatest tips, skills, and know-how to make you the best that you can be. We know that you have it in you, and we're going to show you how. Now, let's get started.
Welcome to the Parafair today. And today's story is entitled, Do You Have Enough Energy to Find Success in Your Life? Very interesting concept that we have to deal with, and very just something that we all have to do during this time in our life. So very interesting story. Let's listen to our story. We'll get back to in a few seconds and break it down and try to understand what's going on with us as we try to find some energy to find success in our life.
The King and Macaw Parrots. Once upon a time, there was a king who had gone to visit neighboring kingdoms. He was gifted a pair of baby macaw parrots by the king of the last kingdom where he was visiting. They were the most beautiful birds he had ever seen. So, upon returning to his kingdom, he called for a bird trainer and asked him to train macaw parrots. The king also arranged a place in the palace garden for the parrots. He often looked at them from his palace window. As time passed, one day the trainer came to the palace and informed the king that one of the parrots was flying majestically high in the sky. The other one was not moving from its branch since the day it had arrived. Upon hearing this, the king summoned trainer and healers from the nearby kingdoms. They all tried their best, but couldn't make the parrot fly. He even asked his courtiers to try to find a way to make the parrot fly, but they all failed. The parrot was not moving from his branch at all. Finally, after trying everything, the king thought that maybe he needs someone who may be more familiar with natural habitat. He asked his courtier to get a farmer from the countryside and take him to the parrot to see if he can understand the problem with the parrot. The next morning, the king was thrilled to see the parrot flying high above the palace gardens. He asked his servant to call that farmer to meet him. The servant quickly went and located the farmer, who came and stood before the king. The king asked him, "How did you make the parrot fly?" With his hands folded with respect, the farmer said to the king, "It was very easy, your majesty. I simply cut the branch where the bird was sitting." Moral: we are all gifted with energy to find a success in our life, but fail to gather the courage which is required to reach heights of success and end up clinging to the things that are familiar to us. We need to free ourselves from our comfort zone to explore new opportunities and find a success beyond our capacity.
Welcome back from our story. Very interesting story how, as I love that story, how they couldn't get that bird to fly. They just couldn't get him to fly, and no matter what they did, they played all these tricks and did certain things with him. And sometimes in life, that's what happens to us. We get all these people that tell us to get us motivated. You listen to this person, you listen to that person. You go from one diet, you go to another diet, you go to, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that to get myself motivated, and you never do. But sometimes we have to do drastic measures to get to the next level. And sometimes, like the guy did, he just cut the limb off and the bird was on the limb. He had no other choice but to fly. And sometimes when we get our feet cut underneath us and we have no other choice but to get better, we will. We're all faced with different types of challenges in our life. And it's just how we're going to deal with them. Some people some people, when their back's against the wall, that's when they start producing more. Other people, they're a little different. They're just self-motivated. They know how to get things done and they just go after it. Everyone's a little different how they're going to get to their goals. But the key thing is you have to have energy towards your goals. I know myself, sometimes my goals, I'm like, wow, why did I set this goal? It is so hard to get to. Then I realize it's really not that hard. I think you're just whining about it, talking about it, not doing anything about it. That's the hard part. That's the hard part of getting things done. This week I was presented all these lovely, just not lovely, but just opportunities to make the podcast bigger and better, reach more people. Then as I step back from it, and the problem I did today, and I did this, I mentioned it to someone. I mentioned what's going on with the podcast, and I was excited about it. Sometimes we're excited about our goals and things that are happening to us, but you got to realize not everyone's going to be excited for you. And I felt like this bird at this time, because as I mentioned this opportunity in front of this person, they looked at me and said, wow, what are you trying to do? I said, this is a golden opportunity for us, for the podcast, for the people, for everyone. They're like, I don't know. I don't know if you're ready for that or not. I said, well, what do you mean I'm not ready? They said, well, yes, that's way, I don't know. They're sure asking a lot. And I said, wow, they really don't think I can do this, huh? So when I heard that person speak those words of not encouragement, this encouraging me to do this, I said, you know what? That's a sign that you must do it. That branch has to be cut underneath you, and so you can fly. Because if you just sit there and don't do anything about it, opportunity is going to pass you by, and then you're going to sit there and like, wow, I'm okay, but I could be a lot better. And I read this article a couple months ago about this person who was doing certain things, and they just said, they just said, you know what? Either we're going to sink or we're going to swim. We're going to make it no matter what. And that's what happens a lot to us in life. We start thinking that we can't do things. We can't accomplish things. And people, you'll find the right person who's going to tell you, nah, I don't think it's the right thing for you to do at this time. And as I look at a lot of things that I'm trying to do, and some things today, I accomplished a few things that I've been putting off and doing, and just not really focused enough, but I got them done. And I felt really good about accomplishing my goals, my little daily goals that I have to do. But sometimes I'm really stretched a lot, and I'm trying to figure out, why haven't I given up yet? Is it enough, or should I keep pushing myself? Is that goal out there just too far? Should I bring that goal closer to me, or what should I do? Should I just, have that giving up mentality? And I said, no, we don't think that way. Let's not even get that in your mind, because you're going to take the easy way out. And I heard a lot of people say that the easy way out is not the best way yet sometimes. And as I watch some people and I see people stumbling and falling and failing, I realize that, you know what? You're so close to getting to the goals, but to let people talk them out of it. And as I've been listening to my guests that I've been bringing onto the podcast, hopefully you've been enjoying the guests I've been coming onto our podcast. If you got someone that's really inspirational to you and you want them to come on the podcast, let us know. But as I listen to my guests, they all have that same thing, that they know where they're going with their business, where they're going with their certain things that they're doing. They just know. There's no ifs and buts about it. They know where they're going in the direction of their business. And like the one person told me, it's okay sometimes to pivot and turn around and think about some things in a different way. A lot of times we want to think and say, you know what, it's just way out of my realm to do this. As I imagine that bird who was sitting on that branch, and he had to convince himself, or her convince himself, that he could do it. And there was nothing underneath him to catch him from falling. And so he had to use those wings. He had to get better. And sometimes I notice myself and just pushing myself. And as I was talking to someone the other day, and I was at home and I was working on a project, and they said, just relax, enjoy your time away from work and whatnot. I said, can't do it. I have too many things in front of me. I got to keep pushing myself. And the thing, it wasn't a big thing I had to do. And I try to chop my little projects up into little steps. Do one thing one day, do it perfectly, do another thing. And I try to chop them up so it's not so overwhelming for myself and for the people around me. And it takes me a little bit longer, but I notice once the project is done, I do a pretty good job. But if I rush through it and try to get that goal done and get this push through it, it's sloppy. And so my goals I set, some of them they take a little bit longer than others. Thinking about the thing that I'm working on now, how I have to get the parts and get certain things ready. And I said, I did the first couple steps. That was the hardest part. The next part it's going to be pretty simple. It's going to be fun. And I have to tell myself, you're going to just go in there and you're going to just have fun with it. Have fun with what you're doing and enjoy the process. And I think a lot of times that's what happens to a lot of us. we're not enjoying going after our goals. We're just thinking about the end goal, and we're not enjoying the process. I remember I was taking this class in college, and this teacher, all he would tell me was, just enjoy the process. And I'm sitting there looking at him like, I'm sitting here struggling. I don't understand what's going on. It's not coming out like I want it to come out. And he's saying, just enjoy the process. I said, that doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know where they got this guy from, but he's the wrong person. But then it didn't make sense to me till later on, where I am going through things. I am going through learning. I've learned that sometimes when you get knocked down, you learn a lot. Sometimes when you get things too fast, you don't learn as much. And so I'm like, I'm enjoying it. I smile a little bit more. Even though it's a struggle, I know I can get it. Just like, a couple months ago. And it's amazing how people will come into your life and they will encourage you to do certain things. And I had this one person say, don't worry about it. I know you'll be able to get it in a few months. I know you'll be able to take care of that problem. I know it's going to come up. And as I think about some things that I'm working on and getting better and better in doing it, it's not me. It's just that energy that I find to keep moving forward. I don't want to go backwards. And sometimes I have to go backwards, but I got to keep moving forward and forward and forward and just keep my energy up and keep my motivation up, because it's hard. It's hard because we get comfortable. We want to sit on that branch. And I know sitting on that branch it's shade. It's probably comfortable there. It blocks the rain, blocks all the wind and everything. But sometimes you got to get from underneath that, get underneath and work harder and be smarter about a lot of things in the world. So as we go out today and as we think about the things that we're going to accomplish, just remember, we all have certain gifts that we've been given by nature and whoever, but we have to make sure that when we have these gifts, we use these gifts to our best ability. And we have to gather some courage to just continue pushing to new heights. And it's okay to go to new heights. It's okay to do things that are familiar with us. But the main thing is, it's okay to, free ourselves to do new things. And it's okay to move out of that comfort zone. Because a lot of times, to be honest with you, I love being in a comfort zone. And it's kind of scary. It is kind of scary at times to get out of that comfort zone and explore new opportunities. But if you ever want to grow and you want to be the biggest and the best, and you're going to have to step out there and find success beyond your capacity. And it's not easy. I understand that. But you're capable. You're listening to this podcast. I was looking back at like as I wrapped this up, I was looking at the podcast, and I basically started almost about the same time this year. And people say, you'll do couple episodes and that'll be it. Good thing I didn't listen to them. So I want to thank you guys for, coming by the Para Fair today. And hopefully, but I know that you're enjoying the show. And as we continue to get bigger and better, just remember that we all have gifts, but you got to find that energy. You got to find that passion to keep pushing yourself, and don't get discouraged when people say that you can't do things. So until next time, we'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.
This week's episode has come to an end. But the fun doesn't have to stop here. If you have any questions, suggestions, or feedback, head over right now to Twitter and Facebook and like, share, and get involved. Join us next time.